their friends up in the Northeast, and that is the New England Patriots. Bit of a down year last year, especially for Mac Jones. We all kind of saw the offensive frustrations, so we'll see if they can improve on that this year. In terms of departures, they did lose quarterback Brian Hoyer, running back Damian Harris. We just mentioned he went to the Bills. Wide receivers Jacoby Myers and Nelson Aguilar, and then tackle Isaiah Wynn as well. And on defense, lost cornerback Jojuan Williams, and then safety Devin McCourty, who he retired, so kudos to him and his career. And then they did bring in wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster, tight end Michael Gesicki, and also tackle Riley Reif in free agency. And then draft-wise, they grabbed cornerback Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon at round 1, pick 17. We both felt he was the second best corner in the draft, so a little bit of value there. We'll see. They're great at developing defensive backs, so hopefully they can get him to reach his ceiling. Grabbed edge rusher Keon White from Georgia Tech in round 2 at pick 46, and then safety Marte Mapu out of Sacramento State at round 3, pick 76. So, John, obviously Patriots still investing in that defense. Big question is going to be is if that offense can improve upon last year's disaster. What are your thoughts, though, on the Patriots?
The Patriots are, I don't know. It always feels strange to really evaluate their additions and departures because on paper, they're never going to make any big splashes, any sexy moves. Like outside of the 1 year that they went and like spent absurdly in free agency with like Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith and all those kind of guys.
Matt Judon.
Yeah, Judon. Like that was kind of
Judon's the only one that worked out.
Only year, right? That it actually really worked. And that was also like post Tom Brady era. So things were just strange. So I don't know. I like the offseason in general. I don't think that out of all the players they lost, the one that I think hurts them the most would be like Jacoby Myers leaving because he was actually a really solid and underrated receiver when he was there. But they replaced him with Juju Smith-Schuster. So it's like you got another solid replacement for him. And you have Tyquan Thornton coming up. You drafted Kayshawn, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Bouye, I think, Boot, something like that, out of LSU, who he had a lot of potential that unfortunately didn't really get realized over his last few years in college, but there's still potentially something there. You have Devontae Parker still. You got Kendrick Bourne. So like they still have some solid options. And then, they're going back to like the 2 tight end thing with Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki. And I really wouldn't be surprised if we saw a lot of Mike Gesicki in the slot. That's what he did a lot in Miami when he had his like career year was they put him a ton in the slot. The only issue for him was then they drafted Jalen Waddle. And when they drafted Jalen Waddle, they had a lot of receivers over there. So they put the receivers in the slot, which put Mike Gesicki back at tight end. With him having Hunter Henry, with him is there as well, I think we could see more 2 tight end kind of stuff with Gesicki playing the slot, which can kind of overcome maybe some of the lack of superstar talent they have at receiver. So I don't know. The offense is still interesting. I also, although I don't necessarily love Bill O'Brien, they brought him in to actually run the offense because last year the offense was run by Joe Judge and
I think like Matt Patricia too.
Yeah,
Patricia. They're like switching back and forth. It was a bit of a mess.
Yeah, and those 2 guys are known for defense and special teams, not offense. So Bill O'Brien is actually an offensive-minded guy, so you bring him in to run the offensive unit. I think that should bring some stability because we even saw at points last year, there's the Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi type stuff, but then even there was Mac Jones being upset about the play calling and the lack of running at certain times and all that kind of stuff. So I think offensively, there's not a lot that's going to change outside of probably just pure like stability in terms of scheme. And then defensively, I don't know. I feel similar. Like it's Bill Belichick. It's the same, it's going to be the same old for the Patriots. And I really like the fact that they went out and got Christian Gonzalez because you and I both agreed that, he has all the things that you like. We just didn't necessarily love the motivation or the feistiness or some of those kind of things in regards to the cornerback position. But Bill Belichick seems like the perfect type of coach that can make Christian Gonzalez into one of the best corners in the NFL, because Christian Gonzalez has all the tools. It's just, some of the intangibles, I guess. But I think Bill Belichick is sort of similar in that way. Like, he's not going to be super emotional and all these kind of things. And so I think him and Christian Gonzalez can be a great pairing. So yeah, I feel similar about the Patriots as I have last year, to be honest. Like, I still think they can win like 10 games. I could see them dropping down to 7-8 wins, because ultimately they don't have a lot of star power, especially on offense. Like, I like a lot of the young defensive guys they got, but even like Judon, I think is having some like contract issues right now with the Patriots.
They resolved it. I think I saw like they just gave him more guaranteed money. Like, it was a couple days ago. At least as of this recording.
Okay, yeah, he agreed to a restructured contract 23 hours ago. Although I'm also seeing 2 hours ago, Patriots still haven't done enough for linebacker Matthew Judon. I don't know what this means, but anyway.
We're recording this on August 5th, by the way.
Yeah.
So, like, if this comes out a week later, it's all resolved, then there you go.
Yeah. Anyway, point being, like, defensively, they have some stars like a Judon, right? And then they go out and they get a big guy in the draft in Christian Gonzalez, and they have some other, really solid players like Jonathan Jones or Kyle Duggar, who they got in the draft a while ago. Jack Jones has his moments with some like crazy special teams plays.
Basically, all the Joneses, because Marcus Jones too. Like,
Yeah.
they even had to use him in offense last year to generate plays.
So I'm not really worried about the defense, although I do think that, they could still continue to add pieces over time. It's still just the offense. Like, yeah, like Juju and Devontae Parker are good, but like, there's not like a true number one guy there. And that can work with like Kansas City because they have Mahomes and Kelsey. But over here you have Mac Jones and Mike Gesicki and Hunter Henry. Like, so I don't know. I love Ramondre Stevenson. I like the offensive line with Wenahue, Cole Strange, David Andrews, Trent Brown, Riley Reif, all those kind of guys. I like the line. It's just I'm not really wowed by the QBs and the receivers. So I'm in a conference where you're dealing with the Dolphins with Tyreek and Waddle and just the pure power that those guys have, and then Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers in that division, and then even in the playoffs with all the other QBs we already mentioned earlier. I'm not quite sure if this team is really good enough to make like an actual run in the playoffs, but I could certainly see them potentially making it as a wild card team.
Yeah, I'm basically with you. I'm very interested to see basically if the offense can improve, because I do think the defense is a sneaky, very good defense. I think they could. I wouldn't be shocked if they're in the top 5, probably be in the top 10 though, at the end of the year, with obviously all the Joneses and very good secondary, and Bill Belichick always manages to make the front, just the whole defense, but especially the front 7, make them work on defense with late round picks or get veterans or whatnot. I expect that this will be a run heavy offense. They kind of were already doing some of that old school stuff anyway. Remember a couple of years ago, there's that. It was in windy conditions, but they never even They only threw the ball like once, I think, in that Bills game,
It was twice. It was twice.
Yeah, that was with the healthy Mac Jones,
and they were like 5-yard routes, like very short.
Yeah, so I do like. Although they lose Damien Harris, I like that now we know. Okay, it's Vermont. I'm putting air quotes here because it is New England. Should be Ramondre Stevenson's show, and he's shown the capability to kind of be a do-it-all back, but especially their type of back to do it between the tackles with power, and can contribute in the passing game as well. But I'm sure they'll have other running backs do that stuff too. But I'm with you. I'm just not overly impressed with the wide receivers as a whole. But so that obviously limits their ceiling. So yeah, I would predict too this would be around a 500 team. Wouldn't be shocked if they go into the wild card, maybe upset a team. But like you said, no real star power to drag you across the finish line for a couple of games, make a couple of big plays on their own, unscripted. I just don't think they have that, obviously, like you do. So, it'll be very interesting to see how they mess with the division, because I feel like for other people or other people in the industry, they just feels like the Patriots are kind of the afterthought right now, and understandably so. We'll talk about the Jets in a second, but I wouldn't be surprised if they thwart, like maybe they beat one of these teams, one of these other teams twice, or they go like 3-3 in the division. They don't make the playoffs, but they screwed over the Jets or the Dolphins because they won both division matchups or won a key matchup late in the year. Wouldn't shock me about that. But yeah, I'm with you. I expect the Patriots to be, I guess, feisty and competitive as always with Bill Belichick teams, always very well coached and versed. So we'll see how they do.